Let's look at operations on complex numbers. First up are adding and subtracting. If we have two complex numbers, a plus bi and c plus di, then we can add them and subtract them, much like we do with polynomials. A and c are the real part, and b and d are the imaginary parts. So we are really, essentially, combining like terms. One thing that we do need to keep in mind when we are subtracting is that the negative sign needs to distribute to both terms in that second complex number. One more thing to point out, a plus bi, c plus di, we call both of these standard form for complex numbers. So we want to write our answers in standard form for complex numbers when we're working with them. In number 4, we have 4 problems, 2 additions and 2 subtractions. We want to simplify these expressions and write the result in standard form for complex numbers. If you want, you can walk through the first one with me. We can do that together, and then you can pause the video. If you're feeling brave and you want to try it out on your own, I highly encourage it. Pause the video now. Try at least the first one on your own. Resume it and see how you did. And remember, our goal is understanding, not just getting it right. So the opportunity to learn from mistakes. This is your chance. Here in part A we have addition. So I could drop the parentheses completely. And noticing that I have real parts of 2 and 4 and imaginary parts of 5 and 6. And now we can add the pieces together. Real part 2 plus 4 is 6. Imaginary part 5 minus 6 will be -1. We don't usually write the 1, so we have 6 minus I. Similarly with B, we have a real part, and we have imaginary parts. We have another addition, so we can just drop the parentheses and essentially collect the like things together. So we have 3 minus 5 for the real parts, and -2 minus 1/3 for the imaginary parts. Highlighting them just so you can see where they're coming from and why I'm putting them together. 3 minus 5 is -2. -2 minus 1/3. I'm going to do this over to the side to make it a little bit easier to see. I need a common denominator, and 2 will become 6/3, multiplying top and bottom by 3. And we have -6/3 minus 1/3, -7/3. And -7/3 I. -2 minus 7/3 I is our answer. Let's look at subtraction. Noticing that there's a minus sign, I need to change the signs in my second complex number. So we'll do that first. I'm going to highlight the numbers so that we can see real parts and imaginary parts. And I'm keeping the signs with the numbers so that when we move these around in order to combine them, we keep the sign in the front with the number. -4 minus 2 plus I plus 5I. And we get -6 plus 6I for C. D is a little different because we're subtracting a pure imaginary number minus a complex number, but it does not change anything in our procedure. It just means that we don't have a real part for the first number. And I'm going to wait on highlighting them just yet and distribute that negative first. 6I minus 4 plus I. Imaginary parts, real part, we'll put the real part in the front, plus 6I plus I, negative 4 minus plus 7i, negative 4 plus 7i is our answer for D.